What's up, everybody? It's your boy Kyng Pablo, and welcome back to the channel. So today we got a story about a woman that was killed during a conjugal visit with her husband. We're going to get into a video clip, then I'll come back with my commentary.
A notorious LA killer serving life in prison without the possibility of parole reportedly strangled his wife to death during a conjugal visit. 54-year-old David Brinson was convicted in the 1990 execution-style murders of 4 men in the Mid-Wilshire district. Authorities say last November, while at Mule Creek State Prison in Northern California, he told officers his 62-year-old wife Stephanie had passed out during a conjugal visit. She was declared dead at the scene. 4 months later, a coroner confirmed that she was strangled to death. The Amador County District Attorney is awaiting the prison's full report before filing charges against Brinson. Brinson has since been transferred to a state prison in Stockton.
All right, and we're back. So we have 54-year-old David Brinson serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. He killed 4 men. He was located at the Mill Creek State Prison in Northern California. This incident happened last November when his wife, 62-year-old Miss Stephanie, was visiting him. He told the officers that his wife had passed out, and she was declared dead on the scene when the officers arrived. But 4 months later, we hear that the coroner said she had been strangled to death. So what the hell happened in that damn room? Well, we know he strangled her to death, but why? Then when did she meet this man? Did she meet this man in prison and married him and was going to see him? Like, what the hell? She's 62, he's 54. He hasn't been charged yet. The DA is waiting for the prison report. DA, go ahead and charge this man. The coroner said it's strangulation. Why the hell haven't you charged him? Talking about you're waiting on the prison reports. And why were you all letting him have conjugal visits? And he was in prison for killing 4 men, life without the possibility of parole. That's crazy as hell to me. He has been transferred to a new prison. We got another video clip that we're going to get into, then I'll come back with my commentary.
To 4 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole, but allowed to have unsupervised family visits. And one of those visits, his wife ends up dead.
Your reporter Madison Keevy has the woman's family's plea to the prison make changes and give them answers.
Love your grandchildren more than anything. And that's what hurts the most, is because we got some that's about 3 years old. They don't know, what's going on. It's hard to explain that to them.
Stephanie Brinson wore many hats: grandmother, mom, a volunteer who gave back to her community.
It really hurt. She was a very loving person to a fault. She didn't care what your past was. She saw the good in everybody.
Stephanie died during an overnight family visit at Mule Creek State Prison. She was there visiting her husband, David Brinson, sentenced to 4 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole for killing 4 men in a Los Angeles robbery in 1994.
She liked this guy and she trusted him. And, unfortunately, it was her demise.
According to the Amador County Sheriff's and CDCR, at some point in the middle of the night during their November visit, Brinson called the prison staff to say Stephanie passed out. 2 weeks later, her family was told something seemed suspicious about the case.
Kind of suspected it was something weird going on because she was healthy.
Her children's fears realized. The Amador County coroner ruled it a homicide. Stephanie was strangled.
It's a very frustrating role because we know it was just him and her in the room, nobody else. No supervision, no phones. They take her phone, they take all her belongings. So what hope does she have to, her life is in his hands at that point.
Her children want answers. Why an inmate with a violent history was allowed to have unsupervised visits at all? We took those questions to CDCR. They say protocol is that visits are determined by conduct while incarcerated, not convictions, unless an inmate has suspended privileges due to disciplinary actions, are on death row, or are convicted for sex offenses.
We just want answers, what could be done, and not even just for the sake of my mom, but for the future, for somebody else's mom, somebody else's wife.
trying to make a change. There are no charges for Stephanie's death, and Brinson has not been named as a suspect. He has been moved, however, to a facility in Stockton.
All right, and we're back. So Mr. Brinson was, this incident that he got into, this robbery where he killed 4 men, happened in 1994. So clearly, Miss Stephanie had to meet him while he was already incarcerated. So did she meet him on one of those websites that you can meet an inmate, or like how did she meet this man? And why did she go and marry him? But he was allowed to have unsupervised visits. The family spoke out, said that she was a loving grandmother. She saw the good in everybody. The family was told after 2 weeks that something seemed suspicious. So who told the family that something seemed suspicious? Was it the coroner that told them that? Was it the prison? The coroner, as we know, ruled it a homicide. And we also find out when people go and have these conjugal visits with these inmates, all their belongings are taken. They don't even have their phone, no nothing. And the visits are based on your conduct in prison, not based on the crime. So just because he had that life sentence without the possibility of parole, long as he was a good inmate in prison, he was eligible to have these conjugal visits. We have another video clip that I'm going to play because it details a little bit more about this area where these visits take place. So we're going to get into that video and I'll come back with my commentary.
Now at 8, a family demanding answers tonight after a visitor was found dead inside a California state prison.
KCAL News assignment editor Mike Rogers is back at the desk now. Mike, you spoke with the family. Lots of questions tonight about how this could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of questions, to say the least, in this situation. And just before the show, I had a chance to speak with the family of this woman. Her name is Stephanie. She went up to Mule Creek State Prison. That's up in Amador County. She went there to have a series of nights with her husband in a family visiting unit of the prison. I want to show you some pictures of Stephanie while I tell you exactly what happened here, because according to the Amador County Sheriff's Department and CDCR, at some point in the middle of the night, the person that she was in there to visit, by the way, convicted of 4 murders here in Los Angeles County in the 1990s, called into the prison staff to say she wasn't breathing. It wasn't for another 2 weeks after her death that her family was notified that something seemed suspicious about the case. And it wasn't until last Friday that they were finally notified that this, in fact, was a homicide, that she died by strangulation. Now, the man she was in there to see, her husband, has not been charged, has not even been named as a suspect to us when we inquired about the case. Tonight, the family is remembering her, and they're frustrated about what was allowed to happen in that prison.
She would do toy drives during the holiday to give back to the community. She was just a very giving person.
It's very frustrating, especially because they haven't charged anything yet. They just know that it's a homicide, but nobody's been charged or prosecuted or anything. So it's a very frustrating role because we know it was just him and her in the room, nobody else. No supervision, no phones. They take her phone. They take all her belongings. So what hope does she have?
They are accountable. They are accountable. You know, it was my mother's choice as a grown woman to be there with the person that she was with, but they're accountable for the type of protection that they provide for these people when they provide a service like this.
Yeah, now, it should be pointed out that these family visiting units are separate from the main housing unit of the prison. They are not supervised. There is no guard inside of these units. There are no cameras inside of these units. There is a phone. And according to the family, every now and again, a prison staff member would come by and have them check in. They don't think that's enough at all. I asked CDCR if they believe that it's appropriate for somebody to be convicted of 4 murders to be allowed to be alone unsupervised with somebody who is not incarcerated at the prison. They say that there is a rigorous set of rules that come with these family visits. I just went through the regulations for the California Code of Rehabilitation, and it doesn't say anything about a conviction of the person and what they had. It talks about their conduct in prison. By the way, they're only ineligible for these visits if it was a violent crime against a minor or a family member. So now we will wait to see if they will end up charging him. I did reach out to the Amador County District Attorney's Office. I've not heard back, by the way. Those 4 murders were here in LA County in the 90s, and Stephanie also from Los Angeles.
All right, Mike, thank you so much.
All right, and we're back. So Miss Brinson was going to be staying there for a couple of nights, we hear. Mr. Brinson still has not been charged or named as a suspect. Why not? The coroner has already ruled it homicide. He was the only one in the room. So why has he not been named a suspect or charged? The family holds the prison accountable for the protection of other visitors. I agree. Because we found out at these conjugal units, they're separate from the prison. They're not supervised. There are no guards. Really? No cameras. Really? And just a phone is provided. I mean, you still have felons, even though they're supposed to be these good behavioral felons. They're still felons. And they're in a conjugal, family visiting units unsupervised. That is absolutely absurd to me. The family also says that every so often that a prison staff member will go over there and check in. That is absolutely ridiculous that you have these felons over there visiting for a couple of nights with no supervision. That is absolutely crazy. I also found out Miss Stephanie Brinson was a small business owner and a hairstylist. They still haven't just come out and said, did she meet this man on a prison pen pal situation or website? Like, how did she meet this man? Because she clearly met him while he was already incarcerated. And how long had they been talking before they got married? Like, I'm waiting for more details of this story to come out. It's very, very sad. The prison definitely needs to hold some type of accountability for Mrs. Brinson's demise. We're going to keep our eye on this story, definitely. This has been your boy, Kyng Pablo. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Peace.